Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again this is Jeremy Smith. Sorry it took me a little bit, but I finally got around to getting some more samples with the Sony A57, and now we're going to take a look at those. As always, I will state that most of the cameras now are all pretty close to each other. Of course the A57 uses a 16 megapixel sensor. It seems to be very similar to some of the other cameras in this range, like the Nikon D5100 and Nikon D7000. Starting off with the first shot here, you'll notice that I shot this in RAW, and I basically took this straight out of the camera, so I haven't done any type of processing or anything to it. I do oftentimes like to shoot all the cameras in RAW, and that gives us a better idea of what they're actually capable of without having the camera's built-in noise reduction affect things as much. This first image was taken at ISO 6400 with just one of Sony's standard 18 to 70 lenses, and of course it was at f5.6 and an eighth of a second. It is just slightly blurry. I was being lazy. I didn't feel like getting my tripod. But you can kind of see here. Just like most of the other cameras in this range, in my mind, while a camera like this still does very well at 6400 ISO, anything above 3200 ISO, in my opinion, is still more territory for a full frame camera. But of course, even the APS-C cameras such as this one are starting to do much better. Okay, there we go. This is at ISO 1600. Very good. Want to get a RAW file. Lots and lots of detail is preserved, even at high ISO settings, which is very good. It is basically what I've come to expect in cameras in this range. Let's look at another one here. Okay, here's just a random outdoor shot. Sorry guys, these shots are a bit uninspired, unfortunately. Pretty soon, whenever I go out to yet another shoot, I'll actually have to take some different cameras with me. Whenever I'm doing a paid shoot, it's kind of hard to do that sometimes, just because when someone's paying me, I want to use the equipment I'm comfortable with. So I kind of have to work in different equipment when I can. But this still kind of gets you an idea. Pretty soon I'll probably be setting up a shoot with the intent of just going out and shooting just for the sake of shooting with different cameras. So just bear with me, and I'll be doing that soon. Looking at everyone's comments, I can definitely tell that a massive comparison video is in order. So the Nikon D5100 versus D3200 video did very well, and I think it helped the community out a lot. But I think we need to do something, and where I actually toss in some other cameras, like some Canons and some Sonys and Nikons all in one test. So I am going to be working out the details of that very soon. If anyone has any cameras they'd like to see compared, just let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see what I can get worked out. Okay, here is yet another ISO 100 shot. And there's a nice reference to my company. If you guys want to help me out with more video, or help me out by making more videos, definitely go on my company site. Check us out. We're pretty competitive price-wise. I know there's been a couple users that have bought some things from me so far, and I appreciate that. Okay. I'm going to also test this camera a little bit more with some JPEGs pretty soon as well. I don't have as many samples to show you that are JPEGs, but actually I don't think there's any in this group. but I did shoot some JPEGs, and unfortunately that's one weak area with most of the Sonys, in my opinion, is just their out of camera JPEGs. They have improved a little bit, but it's I don't know, it's still a bit of a disappointment. Of course, I'm a firm believer of shooting in RAW. So if you want to get the most out of your DSLR, I still recommend shooting in RAW anyway. Okay, some nice detail there. Once again, this is at 1600 ISO. It's amazing how well all these cameras do at 1600. You get some usable results at higher ISOs, but even at 1600, which used to be a big deal just a few years ago. I mean, practically any camera, any DSLR you pick up these days can produce a good image at 1600, so that's pretty impressive. The necessary portrait shot here. I always like to look at cameras at high ISO in a portrait situation because that gives me a good idea of detail. Very good, very minimal noise here. Even if we look at some of the darker portions of the image, you still see relatively low noise, so very, very good. And of course lots and lots of detail is being held on to as well, which is good. And keep in mind, I haven't done any additional processing. I basically just open the RAW files straight in Lightroom, and nothing else has been done to them. I am going to spend a little bit more time shooting with this camera, and I've been spending time shooting with a lot of the other cameras that we've previously looked at, so that we can so that I can go ahead and get together a comparison video up for you guys pretty soon. So that way, hopefully, even more questions will be answered for everyone, because a lot of people will say, okay, D3200, D5100. Well, what about the Canon? Well, what about the Sony this or that, whatever. So hopefully very, very soon I will get all this data together, and I'm going to set up a static test scene so that way we can compare all the cameras equally, and I'm going to kind of talk about some of the pros and cons. And just reading you guys' comments helps me out a lot. I've gotten several video ideas just in the past week just from reading the comments, because I can kind of see patterns developing as far as what people are asking question-wise, so that definitely helps. Write me lots and lots of feedback and comments. Definitely subscribe. You definitely want to see all the new videos I have in the works. And until next time, this is Jeremy Smith, Photog J the Great, signing off.